Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at The Night Cage by Smirk and Laughter Games.
The Night Cage is a very dark, creepy themed game in which you and the other players are teammates who have woken up in a dark dungeon. And the only thing that you have to provide you light is a candle which only illuminates your immediate surroundings. You and everyone else needs to find their way out of this dark, creepy dungeon by finding keys to unlock gates without hopefully running into too many monsters. That's right, you're not alone down there. Let's take a look at how it plays down below, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer.
All right, here's the Night Cage. How long will your light last? Let's take a look at this creepy, dark-themed game in which you are a prisoner in a deep, dark dungeon. You and your teammates are going to have to work together to survive this utter darkness, trying to find some keys that will hopefully lead you to a gate that you can unlock in order to get out of this very despairingly dark place that you're in. In more detail, how this game is going to work, all players are going to pick a place to start their game. They're going to place their playing piece on top of a starting tile that is going to branch off into two different ways. And once everybody has done that, then it will be the first player's turn. And how this is going to work at the beginning of the game, you're going to draw two tiles to place on your connecting path. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And as you can see, I am drawing the tiles from a tile holder that is also a giant candle, because you're holding candles in your hands as you walk around this dark dungeon, and that is the only source of light that you have. Your candle only illuminates one space forward in every direction that you're able to move. So in this case, at the beginning of the game, we can move here, and I can arrange these tiles in any manner that works. I have to connect them to myself, and I will place this one like so. Now, on your turn, you have a choice. You can move one space or stay. So let's talk about moving one space. Whenever you move in this game, you're moving to a space that you're connected to, and then any space that was illuminated from your previous spot on the board that is no longer one space away from you or any other player on the board is going to vanish into darkness, such as this space, because my candle only illuminates the space that I'm on and any one space that is adjacent to me, such as this space right here. So this tile is going to vanish and disappear. And you will draw new tiles to connect spaces from your current position. And so I might draw this tile now. I could connect myself to the purple player right here, but I don't have to. I can do it like this, and that purple player is just going to have to go this direction. I probably would not want to do that now. There are some other things that you'll want to know about these tiles. Your starting tiles, as well as some other tiles that you are going to come across through the game, they're going to have cracks along them, as you can see on these two tiles here. And that's because whenever you move off of this tile, you're going to flip it over and it's going to become a pit. And you're going to fall through that pit if you stay on that tile, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I know it sounds like it would be a bad thing, but it's not. You can fall through tiles, and sometimes that's something you want to do. When that happens, if you chose to stay, perhaps, as you can stay, then you are going to place your piece off to the side, either in the same column that you previously were in or the same row, and you will fall through that tile, removing it, and then you are going to pick any one of the tiles or any one of the spaces that doesn't currently have a tile to fall through. So for instance, I might fall right here, and I would draw a new tile and I would place it on my space, and the game would continue as such. I would place new tiles here and here, as that's where my tile connects to. And that's the gist of the game. You're going to continue to do this. Now, some of the things that you are going to come across in the game, you are ultimately hoping to find a key tile, because whenever you find a key tile, if you can move your playing piece to that tile, then you get to draw one of these really cool keys. These are metal, highly detailed, and very rustic looking, dungeon-esque feel to it. Skeleton key. Very cool. And every player needs to get a key before the game is over. What you are hoping to do then, after everyone gets a key, is to find a gate. And if you can move everyone to the same gate with the key, then you win the game. That's how you win this game. So you definitely want to find a gate, but what is trying to stop you are these wax eaters. Now let's talk about how they work. Whenever they come out on the board, they are going to, let's say you're putting one there, and let's say that I'm right here like so. Now, wax eaters are not immediately going to harm you when they pop up. They are only going to harm you in the event that there is movement taking place in their line of sight. So, for instance, we have it set up like such. Their line of sight is going to extend as far as the path goes in the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. And so, for instance, it can see the blue player here and the purple player here. And if the purple player were to move here, there would be a tile there, obviously. Then it would trigger the wax eater to move in all 4 directions simultaneously as far as it can go, as far as the path will allow it. And in this case, that means it would attack the blue player. Same thing if the blue player were to move here, then it's going to move and attack the purple player. It would not attack the yellow player, though, because there is a gap here, and the board does wrap around, by the way, and so it would go to the left here, but since there's not a tile here, it's not going to wrap around and come at this direction to get the yellow player either. So let's talk about what happens when you get hit. When you get hit, you're going to immediately discard the top 3 tiles on this candle, and then you are going to flip your player board from where your candle is lit to it being lights out. Whenever this happens, you are not allowed to stay. You are too panicked because you have no light, so you have to move. And whenever you do move, you are only illuminating the spot that you're on. You are no longer illuminating one space in any direction that you're connected to. So if there was a tile here and here, they would immediately vanish as my light has gone out. This tile would stay lit because the purple player is keeping it lit, but if I move here, this tile is going to vanish because my candle does not keep it lit, and I would put out a new tile there, and I could orient that in any direction that I see fit. And that's how that's going to work. Now, if I ever move back to another person, then my candle gets relit. I can flip my board back over and continue my game as usual. So let's talk about what else you can do in this game. If you do choose to stay, you are going to gain 1 nerve, and the nerve tokens look like so. You can only have a maximum of 2 of these at any point in the game. And what you can use nerve to do is allow you to move again, allow you to block whenever a monster would attack. You would discard only 2 tiles instead of 3. You can charge through a monster because normally you cannot move through a monster, but if you spend a nerve, you can. You're still going to get attacked, but there may be some times when you want to do that. And then lastly, you can sustain during final flicker. So let's talk about what that is. Towards the end of the game, when all the tiles have been removed from the candle, you are in what is called final flickers. And what that means is at the end of every turn, not only are you going to remove the tiles that are not illuminated from any of the player's candles, you will also remove 1 additional tile from the board, even if it is illuminated. Or it definitely would be illuminated. So for instance, this tile right here is not illuminated, so we would take it off the board. And the monster, let's say the monster was illuminated, I could choose to remove the monster because I have to remove 1 tile at the end of the turn during final flickers. So that's a way to get rid of some monsters off the board. And that's the gist of the game. You are ultimately wanting to get everybody to the same gate with keys in hand in order to win. Let's talk a little bit about what you need to know when you are teaching this game to casual or non-gamers. It's extremely important that they understand the concept that tiles are going to disappear when you move away from them. And so you do want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with every step that is taken in this game, regardless of who the active player is, as the choices you make are going to have a huge effect on everyone in the game. And you do have to have very good teamwork to do well in this game. Also, you want to make sure that the players understand how these monster tiles work, and that it's not just whoever is closest to the monster that could trigger it, it's anybody that's in the line of sight that can trigger it. You also want to make sure they understand that the board wraps around, and that if you move to the left here, like the red player might do, you would move over here to this side of the board right there, like so. That's the gist of it, and here we're going to look at the box insert, which there isn't one. Please ignore the busted box bottom in my copy here. You are going to put the board in first, followed by all of the components and baggies. You can see there that the candle does fit in the box. You don't have to take it apart. There are some other components I didn't show you, such as the advanced modules. You're going to put the rulebook on top of everything, and it fits real well. Let's go back up top, and let's share our thoughts on the Night Cage.
And we're back, and now Sam and I are going to share our thoughts on the Night Cage from a gamer and non-gamer perspective, while you check out some gameplay footage of a game between Sam and I. So, Sam, seeing this out on the table, hearing the theme of this one, what's your initial thoughts on it?
Why you thought this was a good game for me to play.
Okay. You are not, I think it needs to be said that you are not a fan of anything creepy or horror themed in any manner.
No.
And so
unless Marvel puts it out, I'm not.
Which I think, their next movie is supposed to be a horror themed movie.
I'll be there for that.
But anyhow, the Night Cage is a game that, just hearing the description on it, it sends a shiver down your spine.
Well, and the artwork on it, which is limited, but what it is
yeah, man, it is dark.
It really does look like some type of horror movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it was very difficult for me to kind of get past that and just see it as a game, because it is unique. I'll say that it is unique how it does make you feel like you're moving with the light and how it gets dark. I think they did a fantastic job with it. But it is hard to get past that theme.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Sam, because this, to me, if you were to, I don't know that anybody would really care to do this, but if you were to turn all the lights off and play under candlelight while you play this game and had maybe like spooky music playing in the background, this would be a super immersive experience, because, the mechanics really do go with the theme. My best friend
would probably really enjoy this game.
Yeah. So this is like, this is cooperative, and this is one of those games where you're trying to get to something before time runs out. Just like how a lot of cooperative games are. It's not a race game, but it is a game in which you want to explore and find things quick. That being the case, usually means that these are not very overly complicated or complex games. Would you agree with that, Sam?
Yeah, it wasn't. The idea, your goal, all of that was easy to understand. And I think it being a cooperative game makes it much easier for non-gamers to play. I think it's just more of a personality thing, if anything. You need to find the right person. This is not a game that you could just bring, birthday party. Hey, everybody, let's play the Night Cage.
This is going to be for more, like serious crowd kind of thing. And not immature crowd, and not necessarily like serious gamer crowd necessarily, because I do think you can play this with non-gamers. They just need to be in the right headspace kind of thing.
Halloween, man. This game will shine.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, the box does say ages 14 and up. I don't know this to be certain, but I do feel like that's simply because of the theme. I don't think kids younger than 14 can't conceptualize and understand this game. I think it's just a, creepy theme that you probably want to be cautious about playing with youngsters with. Let's talk about enjoyment that you had while playing this. What was your experience while playing this one?
It was fun to work together and to find the keys that you needed, and to kind of talk together and figure out where you need to go next, and no, you really should stay there, and I'll move here. And so the cooperative, those can be hit or miss for me at least, and I feel like this game did a really good job with the cooperative aspect of it.
I think we always talk about with cooperative games that there could be the propensity for there to be quarterbacking or the alpha gamer just telling everybody what to do, and it's really like they're running the entire show. That can happen in this game. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, no, this game's not going to have that be the case. But I generally feel like that this game is so open and not intimidating in the sense of strategy that generally everybody at the table can have a pretty good idea of what the next move ought to be.
Yeah.
And so you don't typically have just one person sitting there commanding everybody what to do. It's pretty, open as to what you should probably do. So you don't experience that too much with this game. Now, is that to say that this is, that there's not strategy, or it's so, open that the game just plays itself? I do think that there's still some good choices to be made in this.
Yeah.
Choosing whether you should leave something behind that you might really want because you need to go over here to get something else, and once you leave it behind, it's gone forever.
Yeah.
You do have to make those kind of choices in this game. So let's get to our pros and cons on this one. Sam, what were the things that you really enjoyed about the Night Cage?
I mean, I think the production of the game was really well done.
Yes.
I think where you draw the cards from, looking like a candle, was fantastic, and you really do feel like you have a flashlight. You can only see this part that has light on it, and it's just they really thought about how that would look, and that's what it looks like. You're in a really dark cave. It's dark behind you. You can only see exactly where that candle is, and so in that aspect, it's great. And I think they did a really well job. Good job, not well job.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like we said earlier, this is a very immersive experience, and it's because of the production value, I think, that the immersion is there.
Yeah.
So I think they really did a good job on that. Any cons you might have on it?
I mean, really, it's one of those games that once we were done, I was like, okay, glad we did it. You want to win for sure. We tried, and I don't think we did.
No, in fact, I've played this game about 5 or 6 times, and I've yet to beat it. It is a very challenging game. It may just be that I'm not a great player at it, but the teams I've played with, I feel like we did all the right things, and it just didn't go our way.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging game, which for cooperative games, that's one of the things you need for it to be something that keeps you wanting to come back to it.
Yeah, you don't want to win every time.
Right, yeah, the fact that it is so challenging.
But I think by the time it was done, I was like, okay, that was creepy enough. Let's move on. I
want to get it off of me kind of thing.
We didn't win, but I don't need to try again.
Yeah. Now, I think it's a great game, like we've been saying, but it is that game that's kind of like, oh man, I can only take so much of it, and then I want to put it away and then come back to it later on, kind of thing. So, Scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What are you gonna give this one?
That's a hard one because I'm really trying to put my feelings of discomfort to the side and just think of what type of game it is.
Focus on the gameplay.
And it is a good game. I probably would give it a 7.4.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm right in the same ballpark. I'm going to give this one a 7.6 because for me, the gameplay experience is such a memorable experience. This one sticks out to me, and it's going to be one that I'm going to, remember out of all the countless other games that we play. And like I said, it's a very challenging game, so it's going to want to make me keep coming back to it to keep trying because I've yet to win at it. And it does have other modules you can add into it to create even more difficulty and more complexity. Not that this game needs the difficulty because it is pretty challenging, but you can do that. So it's not the same game every time. The only reason why I wouldn't maybe rate it higher is because it is a pretty straightforward experience.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, it's generally pretty easy for everyone at the table to see what you ought to do. And so it's not the thinkiest game out there. So, but as it is, 7.6, solid game. I really enjoyed the Night Cage, and that is from Smirk and Laughter Games. Go check it out.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.